Okay, and so I do have, so many good questions. Um, some of these are kind of the same. I'm going to try to group them together. Okay, Water Dreamer asked, I would love to have a list of must read aloud chapter books for young children. So I have tried to compile a list for you guys. I will link it below. I did a video in the spring and wrote a really long blog post about becoming a homeschool read aloud mama. And I know not all of you homeschool, but of course you can read aloud to your children no matter what educational path they are on. And I do have a list, again, linked below, of some of our best chapter books, ones we've really enjoyed over the years. And of course, right now, we are still going through the Little House on the Prairie series. We almost finished one of those books this week. And there are so many lessons and lap books and printables and other activities you can add on to those. And just enjoying the book. We have a lot of really good conversation that comes out whenever we read, and you guys have probably heard me chat that, so I won't take too much time to talk about that in this video. But as far as the question, the must read alouds, I know in that article I linked to at least 50 of our favorite chapter books. Okay, Veronica asked, how are you able to balance working for yourself and homeschooling / spending time with your family? So I do have that question a lot. And then let's see if I have it again. How's your office working out? Okay, I can answer that one. And then, are you able to balance working for yourself, homeschooling, spending time with your family? Well, let me tell you, lady, it has been a journey that we have been walking out as a family for the last 7 years. Because, of course, whenever I worked as a nurse, I would leave, I would go to work, I would come home, and I would be done. Work didn't go home with me. Now, what I've been doing for many years is from home. So we have tried it so many different ways. I feel like every possible schedule configuration we have done, and I do have some other videos on this. Those I will also link below, and I won't bore you with my whole online work history, but again, it's a question I get asked. The schedule that has worked for us over these last, it looks different some weeks. Me working 1 or 2 days and then having 5 to 6 days with no business pressures whatsoever. That worked well for me. And it goes back to my days of working as a nurse. I could go in and work a double shift, have 16 hours done, and then be done. I didn't always do the 312s on the weekends. I had some different PRN and different configurations I did. So I like getting my hours in as much as possible. So today is a work day. Today, Travis has all of the kids. I don't even know what they're doing. They're out in the forest somewhere. Or they might have even left in the van. So he runs everything on my work days. And right now, since he is done with school and back to being home full time, we do it the same way. I work 1 to 2 days a week, and so that gives me 5 to 6 days a week to do all the things that I want to do, like read those stories in the forest and make those freezer meals and do all my mom stuff that I so much enjoy, spend time with my husband and my children, and of course all of that. And then on my 1 or 2 work days, I have a master to-do list, and I just hit that thing as hard as I can. Now, of course, with a newborn here, you see I'm filming a Q&A video, and I'm breastfeeding a baby, and I'm getting pooped on, I'm changing the baby. I mean, there's still real life within this, but for today, I actually have about 5 different videos I'm going to work on, and then I probably have about 10 videos that need edited. Then I have several recipes I need to finish, pictures I need to edit, I have email I need to get to. In fact, this morning before I left my bedroom, I did check my email, and I had like 276 in there, and I think I got down to 40. And not all of those are important, but I got it down to ones that, just ones I need to actually take a serious look at. And then, what else do I need to do today? Well, that's probably my day right there. So I will probably work to, I should stop at 10 and go to bed so I feel well in the morning. I will probably end up not going to bed till 11 or 11:30, but I will not set my alarm until, for 8 hours after that. And that way, if I am up, if Benjamin and I are up and down a couple times, I will still end up with at least 7 hours sleep. So that's how we have learned to balance it, is that I have dedicated days where I work, and I have dedicated days where I do not work at all.
We had to get up and change a camera battery, didn't we? No, Benjamin is looking at that fan.
Oh, you're looking at that fan with that light. Yes. Okay, so now he can lay beside me for a little bit. Try not to make this a business channel, but I do get questions about that because I know there's lots of moms that watch me that want to do YouTube, want to do blogging, want to just do different entrepreneurial things while still having kids. So I get those questions, and so the biggest thing is Jesus only lets me do what he wants me to do. I surrender a whole lot to the Lord. Some ideas and things I want to do aren't for this time and are not for this season. There are also things that come up that I didn't plan, I wasn't expecting, and I have peace about those opportunities, and it works out well with our family. I'm like, okay, I can do this. This is great. I had that when I had that opportunity to go to California and do voiceover work last spring, and I was able to take Jane with me. I didn't have that in my plans, but that was a cool opportunity, and it was a great trip I got to take with my older son. You know, that was fun. We really enjoyed that. A houseful asked, and I have this question on here a couple different ways. She asked, how do I unwind? What do I do to refuel when the kids go to bed at night? Do I watch TV? You know, do I take some time to catch up online? Another lady asked, I think it's Annie's Heart Japan. She asked, how do you unwind? How and how often do you take time for yourself to recharge? Again, I'm boring, but I think a good part of it is my sleep. That's a priority. You know, I make sure I get to bed, and I don't watch a ton of TV. While I was pretty much on self-imposed bed rest with Benjamin, I did watch the Netflix series. I don't know, is it called The Queen or The Crown? But it's about Queen Elizabeth. You know, I watched through that. I do have movies that I enjoy, but part of the trade-off is because I do put time into growing my business on my work days. Is on the other days I don't put time into TV. I do watch some YouTube usually whenever I get ready in the morning. I'll watch one of Andrea Mills' videos, or This Gathered Nest, or what are some of the other ones? Happily a Housewife. I still watch Samantha. You know, I usually watch 1 to 2 videos in the morning whenever I get ready. So I guess you could say that's something I do for myself. I love sitting on my porch, and if my kids were not probably out front of the house with my husband, I would be out there and would be having a country porch chat, as I call them. I love to sit out on my front porch with my coffee, with my Bible, with my journal. I was just noticing the other day, I have a, you call it prayer journal, Bible journal, Jesus journal, I call it various things, but it's a little notebook. And so something that I do that really feeds my soul is I sit on my front porch with my coffee, and I read my Bible, and I write notes to Jesus and to myself, and I write down, you know, little memories, things I don't want to forget. I write out a whole lot of big prayers, and then this also goes to another question the same mom asked me. I'm going to find it. Where did you go here? Question. A houseful also said, yes, how have you trained yourself? We're going to get back to talking gently. How have you trained yourself to be gentle and speak so gently to your kiddos? I think so much of that also, if I haven't gotten it out yet, is that I run Bible verses in my head a whole lot. I am always asking Jesus to help me. Through many hard situations through the years, stories that, you know, are not for the internet at this point, stories that are not connected with motherhood, but just, you know, I've been through hard things in life. I'm sure you've been through hard things in life too. And again, I sound like a preacher, but the only thing I got, ladies, is Jesus. And the only thing I have is the Holy Spirit working through me, trying to make the very best of every day. And things have not and are not always perfect, but the Lord just has me walking out this journey of Exodus 14:14. You know, this is my verse the Lord has fed me over and over again through these years, is the Lord will fight for me, and I shall hold my peace and remain at rest. And so, yeah, that translates to motherhood too. You know, if the house is a mess, if the kids are cranky, if the dishwasher's broken, I mean, you know, just things in life build up. The best way that I can process that is to focus on a Bible verse. Focus on one verse and run it over and over and over again in my mind. And that brings me a lot of peace, and that helps me respond better. And because I'm saying this on video, I will be tested in this again, I'm sure, this very day. So So again, Jesus helps me, this I know. And another question is, here's my totally serious Q&A question. How do you handle the sleep deprivation that comes with having a newborn 8 times? Also, what kind of sleep, feed, wake schedule do you use for your babies, and for how long do you try to breastfeed? Thanks. So I don't think I have experienced total newborn sleep deprivation as I hear it explained by a lot of other moms. I don't think that's necessarily anything special. I just think I have other things to deal with, and that particular situation I haven't exactly experienced. I have certainly had babies that have been up and down a lot. I have just always had so much faith in breastfeeding. And of course, I've had breastfeeding struggles too. I shared in another video, and I'll pop it up or link it, whatever, with Benjamin's lip tie. We had a good 2 weeks of really struggling, and with him having the laser treatment to have the lip tie revision. So, my mom breastfed me until I was 3, and so she has always, instilled in me even before I was a mom that breastfeeding takes care of a lot. And I say that with so much grace because I know not everyone can breastfeed. I know a lot of women struggle with their breastfeeding, but I have just always breastfed often and breastfeed a whole lot, and so that's my sleep schedule and my feeding schedule is I just breastfeed on demand all the time. I know, especially in those newborn weeks, babies they need to eat every 2 hours, so I'm really mindful of that. And then, of course, with Benjamin's feeding struggles he had with his lip tie, I did use an app on my phone called, what was it called? Still here. It's called Baby Tracker. And I timed on, I could start the timer when he was on the left breast, start the timer when he was on the right breast, so I would know how long he was really eating. I would know when we were struggling, that timer's been on for 20 minutes, but he has really only eaten for 10 minutes. So now I used the timer yesterday, and I think he nursed an hour and a half, and of course he spit up during that a little bit, and I had to burp him and everything, but he just nursed a long time, and then he probably slept for 3.5 hours, and then we did it all again. Like right now, he's just nursed well, he's looking happy, yep, life is good, he's smiling at me, and so when I get done with this video, I will put him in his swing, or I may wear him in the wrap, and then we're finally going to film this kitchen collaboration video before this turned into a Q&A video film in time. I try to breastfeed for as long as possible. I think the longest I've gotten is almost 3 years. That was, of course, with my first with Jaden, and I nursed him while I was pregnant with Zion, and then I nursed both of them for a little bit after Zion was born. I couldn't take that tandem nursing for too long. So I think Zion was born when Jaden was like 2 years and 9 months, 9 and 10 or 10 months old. So I probably nursed them until right around when Jaden was 3, and then I stopped. But he had slowly weaned up to that point. Zion I nursed for almost 2 years. Naomi I nursed for a year, and actually it's sad. You think of your different motherhood guilts. So when Naomi was a baby, I was working every weekend as a nurse. And, I was home all week, so she breastfed on demand all week. But on the weekends when I worked overnight, I would leave pumped milk, and my husband would feed her. Right about the time, I got to the point when she got to be about a year old where I thought, I couldn't take nursing anymore. I felt done with nursing. But it was because I was working a lot on the weekends, and I was tired. Nothing having to do with her, just me. And I thought, it is okay to be done nursing. So I weaned her, and then it was like, I don't know, within 6 to 8 weeks after she weaned, my husband got the contract where then we all traveled as a family together, laid my job as a nurse down for that season, and I just thought, man, if I would have just waited a little longer, I could have continued nursing her till maybe 2 or so. So all the babies, like I remember, Liam, he nursed to about 16 or 18 months. Amelia nursed over a year. Daniel, he nursed until about 18 months. So, I just try to nurse them, obviously, until I'm pregnant again or until they naturally wean. They'll slowly get to the point where they're just nursing at night. I hear you. You're saying things now. And then, if you start skipping a few nights, and that's how it happens. Jenny asked, where did you get your straw hat that you wear all the time? So, yes, I have this old funky straw hat. I think I got that at Walmart 20 years ago. We used to live down near Virginia Beach, and so I wore a hat often, and I still wear hats today, especially when, you know, I got to have a quick mom hair day. So yeah, I got that hat at Walmart many years ago. I probably need to throw it away, but it is my favorite, and I have yet to be able to find a true replacement for that. She also says, love your channel, been watching you since right before your move, and you are my favorite. I love how real you are. Okay, what do you put in your coffee? So in my coffee, I usually put stevia, and then I put that sugar-free Italian creamer. That's what goes in my coffee. And then, how do you keep bathrooms clean? We only have 5 kids, and it seems an impossible job. So I've heard, like Nikki on A Farmhouse Full, I've heard her answer before that she has one of the kids clean the bathrooms every day. That's ideal. Do that. Don't listen to me, okay? So what we do to keep bathrooms clean is probably 2 to 3 times a week, I tell an older kid to go clean all 3 bathrooms. We don't use chore list at this point or chore chart. I did that for a small season when I had 3 young children. Since then, I just... I'll say I just train each child, and I like the idea that every kid, hopefully by around age 12, pretty much knows how to run the entire house. So I can say, you know, and Naomi, she's almost 11, and there's a lot that I could have her do. She does not clean the whole house by herself. She does not run the whole house by herself. But I can say, Naomi, take the vinegar spray and go clean all 3 bathrooms. I can say, Liam, now Liam is 6.5. Liam, go change all the trash cans in the house. I can say, you know, Gabriel, unload the dishwasher and load it. So the house runs by all of us doing our part. And because we have different days, different needs, I mean, we can have 2 days where we run a lot, we're in and out of the house a lot, not home too terribly much, but by the 3rd day when we are home, you know, the house feels cruddy. The floors need swept. If we've accidentally worn shoes in the house, which, you know, our rule is our outdoor shoes get taken off by the kitchen door and our going out shoes are in our hall closet. But again, in real life, kids sometimes forget, you know, shoes get worn in the house. And if we're in and out a lot, you know, the floors need swept. I like to have the steam mop run. Countertops need wiped, dishes need done, laundry needs shuffled, and within all that, about once a week or so, I like to, you know, we go through and we'll do the windows and things like that. Also, my friend Amy over on Raising Arrows, I think she has some videos on this now. She's definitely written about it for years. They do what's called a home blessing day, where they take like 4 hours, 1 day a week, they clean the whole house top to bottom, so the house is spick and span, and then every day they just do little various chores. I feel comfortable with how clean and how I manage our home. We just do what needs done. And every day I'm a big believer in my whiteboard on the side of my refrigerator, and I'll make a list. And that way, if something catches my eye throughout the day, I'll make a list. And then in the evening, when the kids do have some chore time, you know, I'll assign that to a particular kiddo. We just go from there. I think that's going to have to be it, because I got to get my baby in his wrap. But thanks for listening to this Q&A, and I'm going to go get my baby settled and try to do some more videos.